So, Mr. Webb, the remarks you were making about the Snake River dams are of great interest to me, and so perhaps you can share with everyone you made reference to NIMF's report, which appears to be made up of whole cloth and ignoring the 5-year exercise and putting together the BIOP that emerged not long ago. Can you share with us your thoughts on where that standard that's in that NIMS document, the so-called abundant fish standard, I guess you'd call it, any idea where that came from and what it was based upon?
Thank you, sir. I'm just a lowly cooperative manager, but in my opinion, it was just on both sides. Seems like we try to find the science that tells us what we want to hear, not just be independent and give the truth. So I think it's searching to answer questions and keep looking until you get the answer you want, I guess, would be my opinion.
It seemed to me that in preparing for the hearing that this committee held up in Kennewick, I think we had some 400 or 500 people attend, and all of them, it appeared to me, were opposed to removing the dams and opposed to the types of structure that were being debated. One of the concepts that came up in a memo, I'm not sure how valid it is, was that the dams wouldn't be removed; they would simply be regulated out of power generation. Is that rumor still floating about that under a federal judge might say, you don't have to take the dams out because that would require, Congress, but if we just make it that you have to let the water run through the dams, we can do that administratively. Is that concept still out there?
That's still out there, and that is one of our worries. We don't want to make them uneconomical or unusable. So that's still out there, and hopefully that won't happen.
One of the concepts that came up with a biologist that has studied the river for many, many years was that there's about 50% mortality in the fish making their way from the top of the drainages down to the ocean, and then when the 50% that remained went into the ocean, about 1% came back. And so the question in my mind had been, why in the world aren't we focusing on what's going on in the ocean to try to figure out how to further reduce mortality? Because my understanding is that the billions, literally, of dollars that we put into those dams have reduced dramatically the impact they've had upon the movement of fish. We were using, or I think he was using, a river up in Canada, which has no dams on it, and it too had the 50% mortality on the way to the ocean. Your thoughts on that? What have you guys done, if anything, to try to, as I have done, because I've met personally with NIMS and said you need to start focusing on the ocean. What do you folks think should be done in that space?
Yes, I think on the rivers we've done everything we can. We've invested, like I said, 25% of our monthly bill goes to fish mitigation. I agree with you that the focus needs to be on the ocean, the conditions there, on the predators that eat the fish coming in and out of the ocean into the river, and we need to focus there. And so we need to really study what's causing the decline in the ocean, and that's where the losses are.
And we should go back again. The thought had been if you could reduce the loss before the fish get to the ocean from 50% to let's say 40%, that would still mean you'd still get like 1% back. So it just seemed to make so little sense for us to continue to throw those billions of dollars into reforming or refitting or doing whatever with dams or tearing dams out and throwing them away, when in point of fact, you're not going to improve significantly the returns of fish. Why is this argument so panned by environmental organizations?
I don't know. It seems to me we should all work together, focus on the big threats, which would be the ocean, and try to find solutions to that. I would agree with you.
Yeah, we all agree. We all agree, but thank goodness at this particular point, my understanding is that steps are being taken to reverse some of the steps that were being taken to spend another $500 million on various alternative power generation. And in anticipation of removing the dams, I'm hopeful that's going to go away and we can shift our investments to a more productive purpose. But thank you all for being here, and I yield back.